Welcome to Auditio Divina, Sacred Listening with Heart. I'm Katie.
And I'm Tony.
And we are already crying in this podcast, and we haven't even started yet. So, Tony, why don't you kind of explain why I'm already emotional and why you're already an emotional mess?
Well, Katie, at the beginning of November, we remember in special ways those who have gone before us. On November 1st, in the Catholic Church anyway, we celebrate All Saints' Day, in which we celebrate people who have gone before us, who we have canonized, we have named as saints. On November 2nd, maybe even a more important day, at least in my way of thinking, is where we remember all of the people who have gone before us, our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, our teachers, coaches, all the people who have influenced our lives. We celebrate them on November 2nd. So this is a really special time of the year where we really reflect. We take a time to quiet ourselves, hopefully, and just remember people who have influenced our lives.
And we do this with a special song for Auditio Divina. Now, Tony, you came across this song that I've never heard it before, but wow, it's a beautiful song. And do you want to give a little background before you give a process of Auditio Divina, what we're going to do with that song? Why don't you give a little background of what that song is?
Sure. So we are going to look at and listen to Bruce Springsteen's I'll See You in My Dreams. Now, I saw Bruce and the E Street Band last spring down at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. And he's still on a tour, world tour, and that was part of it, being in Milwaukee. And every stop on the tour, he ends the show in the exact same way. That's with a rousing final song. The band goes off with the applause and the usuals. But then Bruce comes out. They put a stool out for him. He has an acoustic guitar, and he plays this song, I'll See You in My Dreams, where he remembers some of his people that he has lost in his band.
So it's a great testimony to remembering those and the connection that after death, life goes on, and that there's still, it's memories that keep our loved ones alive.
Absolutely. So we should probably talk a little bit about Auditio Divina and what goes on in the process before we dig into Bruce's song. So Auditio Divina, for regular listeners will know, but for newcomers, we want to just go through what the process is all about. So it comes from Lectio Divina, which is an old Benedictine prayer form in which there are 4 steps. And the first step in Auditio Divina is called Auditio, just by the title of the prayer form. And Auditio means sacred listening. Auditio Divina means sacred listening. Auditio is listening. So we're going to listen to this song for the first time, at least a portion of it. And we're going to try to hear what word or phrase is really choosing us today. What word or phrase is sticking out in this song and really grabbing us? We're going to listen to the song a second time. We're going to go into the second step of what's called meditatio, and that's Latin for meditation. We're going to sit with our word or our phrase, and we're going to really ask the question, why? Why is this word or phrase grabbing us, choosing us, sticking out to us today? The third time we listen to this song clip, we're going to go into the step of oratio. Oratio is Latin for prayer, and we're going to lift a prayer up to the holy, to the Spirit, to our God, with our word or our phrase. And then we're going to listen to the song one last time and move into the final step of Auditio Divina, and that's called contemplatio. And contemplatio, in that step, we just let that word, that phrase sink deep into us and really ponder and reflect upon how will that word or phrase shape our day, our week, our month ahead as it really takes life in us. So those are the 4 steps of Auditio Divina.
So why don't we get right to it, and why don't we take this song and begin our prayer process? So we first are going to listen to the song, just as you just said. We're going to listen to the verse of I'll See You in My Dreams by Bruce Springsteen. And as you listen, what word or phrase is really tugging at your heart? So let's listen to I'll See You in My Dreams by Bruce Springsteen. Well, isn't that just a beautiful song, Tony?
It is, and I really would encourage. I know we can only by rights play a portion of the song, but it's only a 3.5 to 4 minute song. I would just really encourage you to go onto YouTube or wherever you get your music and check the whole out, because it's worth it.
Yeah.
It is definitely worth it.
This little clip doesn't even go over. This little clip that we've chosen is some of just has only just a few of these really great lines throughout the whole song. So yes, Tony, we really encourage you to listen to the whole song. But as you have said before, so now let's just share what our word or phrase was. For me, it was originally going to be a different line, but then, like we always say, it just grabs you, and it was, "For death is not the end."
And for me, the phrase that really is choosing me today is, "We'll meet and live and laugh again." So let's listen a second time to Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. No, it's not E Street Band. Bruce Springsteen singing, "I'll See You in My Dreams," asking the question then, why? Why is this word or phrase choosing us today? So let's listen again to Bruce Springsteen singing, "I'll See You in My Dreams."
Now it's time for... Oh, that's okay.
I was going to say, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Well, welcome back to that second listen. Well, welcome back from that second listen. And now we're going to just break that open and reflect on why that word or phrase meant a lot. Like I said before, when I was listening to this song, there was another line that kind of was, kind of playing with my heart. But then when he sang the words, "For death is not the end," it just hit my heart. And as I reflect, I think of all the people that I have loved and that have gone before me. And the fact of and this line gives me so much hope. When we talk about death, we don't always talk about hope. But this line, that death is not the end, is very hopeful. I remember so many times in my life where I've experienced a loss, and I thought that was the end. But only to find out later that there's more. For example, when I lost my grandma McAllister, I still remember I was really, really close with her, and she lived next door to us, and she really shaped who I was and who I became. And when she passed, I remember being at the casket and looking to my mom and saying, "Can I touch her? I got to touch her just one last time." Because I thought, that casket will close and I'll never see her again. And so I just wanted to reach out one last time. And Mom said, yeah. So I reached out and I put my hand on her hand. And it was almost like an immediate response. I pulled my hand away because it wasn't her. There was a shell. It wasn't really her. And that's when I started realizing that our bodies just hold our souls. And then we went to Mass to celebrate her funeral. And I was upset still and crying. And I got this sense of peace. And it just kind of radiated from my head down. And I could feel her presence. And so I know that death is not the end. That those that we love are still here with us. And as Bruce Springsteen says, we'll see them in our dreams. We still have this connection to those that we love because you know what? As our faith tells us, as Jesus taught us, as Christ shows us day in and day out, love conquers death. With love, there is no end.
Well, my phrase was, we'll meet and live and laugh again. And it really follows yours in terms of the death is not the end. This All Souls Day, I'm going to be thinking about the people in my life that have really shaped me, influenced me, taught me. And there's so many of them. And yet, probably the three that I will really celebrate the most are my father-in-law, who was deceased back in 2005, my mom, who died in August of 2020, and then my dad, who passed in November of 2021. And I think about all three of them. My father-in-law, who was really like a father to me, my mom, who was my mom, and and my dad, who was such a wisdom figure in my life. And I think about all of them, the physical struggles they had at the very end. My father-in-law passing from cancer, prostate cancer. My mom had like 9 lives. She always said she was, she had so many physical ailments in her life and just succumbed to them ultimately, right in the middle of COVID. And then my dad had a 8-day stay at the hospital where we went through hospice and just watched him wither away to nothing. And I think about how life was like taken away from them. But I really do believe that, and I can't imagine not believing this, that they are living in a different way, and that I will meet them and live with them and hear them laugh again in a real way. And I can't imagine not believing in the resurrection. I can't imagine not believing that they're somehow with us always. Because the alternative would be the opposite of your line, that death is the end. And I just cannot, in my faith, believe that. So I truly believe that Mike and Marge and Dennis will meet and will live and will laugh again.
Thank you, Tony.
Well, now we're going to go into the second. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Now we're going to go into the third step of Auditio Divina, called Oratio, and we're going to listen to Bruce Springsteen one more time again, sing I'll See You in My Dreams. And this time we're going to take that word or phrase that has chosen us and lift that up in a prayer. So let's listen again to Bruce Springsteen singing his song that he ends all concerts with, I'll See You in My Dreams.
And now we invite you to sit in silent prayer and just let that word or phrase sink deeper and deeper.
Well, welcome back from that time of prayer. And we are now going to enter into our fourth and final step of Auditio Divina, called Contemplatio. And we're going to listen to Bruce Springsteen one more time, one final time, sing I'll See You in My Dreams. And when we come back, we're going to invite you to just sit with your word or phrase, letting it sink deeply into you and trying to ponder, how will that word or phrase shape you this week, this month, this year ahead. So let's listen one last time to Bruce Springsteen singing I'll See You in My Dreams.
And I messed something. I got to redo that. So I'm just going to re-record part in it. Now we invite you to sit in silent prayer and lift up a prayer to the sacred using that word or phrase. And now we welcome you back, and take some time now to let that word or phrase sink deeper and deeper and allowing it to change your life. As we come back, we're going to take some time to now share how that word or phrase is going to permeate our lives. How is it changing us, especially as we go forward into All Saints and All Souls Day? And for me, the phrase was, "For death is not the end." And this is such a great reminder for me to continue to look for those signs around me of the love of the people that have gone before me. I remember after I had my dear friend, she lost a friend, and she remembered. No, I don't want to talk about that. I remember when I had a dear friend who lost a really good friend. And she remembered talking about the signs and feeling the presence. Now, this friend of mine, she's not a churchgoer. She doesn't have a, big theological background. But she was able to recognize the presence of the one that she lost. And I think that's a reminder for all of us that God is present and our loved ones. I do not like what I'm saying.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Where are we picking this up here?
Okay.
Just start.
Yeah, just start.
Yeah. Well, my phrase was, "We'll meet and live and laugh again." And as we move into this celebrations of All Saints and All Souls Day, other than picking myself up emotionally after this podcast, what I'll be pondering, I think, most is just memories of when I did spend time with my father-in-law, my mom, my dad, and when we lived and shared life together, when we laughed together, and when we cried together. But I think what that's also going to influence me to do is to really celebrate and enjoy and live to the fullest the people that are also physically present here with me. I'm going to celebrate memories of people who have gone before me, but I still have a whole bunch of people in my life who I also meet and live with and laugh with, and to really enjoy and cherish those moments, because as my parents, my father-in-law have taught me, we don't live forever. And so we enjoy it while we can. And so I'm going to enjoy both the living and the dead, and really celebrate living and laughing and being with one another.
And for me, my phrase was, "For death is not the end." And the way I'm going to live that, I'm going to remember to look for those signs of those that have gone before me, to be open to feeling my grandmother's presence, to feeling, actually both grandmothers' presence, to just feel the love of those that have gone before me. But it's also going to be knowing that death is not the end, that their presence is still around. I am going to make a concerted effort to continue to communicate with them, to think about, those that I love that are not physically here, but I'm still connected to. Death has not severed our relationship death has not put an end to my love for my grandparents, for my aunts and uncles and friends and parishioners that I have grown to love. And how do we stay connected? How do we not allow death to put an end to the memories, to that connection with each other? And so that's what I'm going to go into. I'm going to go into this week and All Saints and All Souls Death and All Souls Day, reaffirming my connection to those that I have loved and that are still here with me.
Well, this has been a more than average emotional podcast that we have provided for you. But I knew when I heard Bruce Springsteen sing "I'll See You in My Dreams" back in March at Pfizer Forum that this would be an amazing Auditio Divina song. And a couple of weeks ago, I saw a special about him on TV, and it just was served as a reminder that this would be the time. This would be the time of the year to celebrate this song and to celebrate it with people who have gone before us. So thanks everybody for listening to our emotions come out and remembering that emotions are not bad. They're not good. They just are.
They make us human.
And if you have some emotions around people that you have lived and loved and laughed with in this time of the year, it's all right. So until we see you again,
catch you on the flip side.